This is IBM Museum. I'm just seeing how many videos I can do, how many my system can do as well, in this process of getting XP loaded and activated on this IBM Think Center system. And I went through and on a previous video, I swapped out the motherboard tray and started to fire it up. And of course, with over 50 minutes of video, just decided that was a video in itself, and decided to make the XP installation and activation its own separate video. Now, I still have the unit open. I had a little bit of complaint on how this existing DVD ROM drive goes through and just want to eject the diskette sometimes, and it's limited capacity. And I was actually wrong. This DVD ROM drive has an IDE connection, and I thought that I had some drives with that, but no, I don't. Not stored away. But at least we do have that other SATA connection. That what I'm going to try and do is to convert this over to just being a SATA drive on the system, a little bit more capabilities. This is the drive that I plan to put in there. I don't know if that ridged plastic is enough to read in this instance, but it is it's a CDR as well. Records CDs. I don't know if it does DVD recording, but that's a minor point. It's DVD multi-recorder is what it says. And I don't know why they have that marking down there. It looks like an RDL. Maybe that's the... and then it has a read-write. Or that DVD. And then compact disc rewritable. Maybe if I hold it right side up for these. So more functionality to this, and it's a SATA. And it's also a little bit smaller. A little bit more compact. So on this, I've gone through and I've disconnected the power cables. And this is the catch for releasing this assembly swing up, but it also releases the drives, is what it looks like as well. So with that to the unlock position, this drive just comes out there. Oh, so simple. And I've taken any disk I had in there and going through, sliding in this replacement drive. And I am going to have to bring up, and we can get rid of that IDE cable. And we have to look through my little bag. We'll probably pull up the adapter, the riser assembly there as well. And we just have to look at I don't know if I have something quite that long. Some of my longer SATA connections are just about all I don't really really need that one, I don't think, with the... Yeah, that would just be odd for that head of that one. But they come up about all the same length. And I can probably do... Looking at clips on these, I don't necessarily want a clip, and we may just have to route it. I think I had a right angle one as well, but it wasn't as long. Yeah, and I can't use that right angle anyway. And could just be an opportunity to get something in there that works, and then get one on order. And this has both the... Wow. So I didn't have that, since I don't have that locked. Okay. And I have to see what contortions. So this will be better for make sure I've got the right guess that's the... So I'm connecting the hard drive power first on this first SATA drive power connection. Even though it's under that metal lip. Boy, if I don't watch it, we're going to have another 50-minute video just on getting parts on the system. That's just a really... Okay, that helps. And I had it right the first time. I was choosing to go feed it like that. Okay. Guess those are designed to hold that power cable captive, but they don't have any wire ties on a center section. So if it's outside that, then it okay. And like not having that drive captive in there, I should just slide up that lever temporarily, and once this comes down, and this drive in there, it looks like an early SATA drive because it has both styles of power connectors, and that might even be useful somewhere else at a later point. Yeah, I don't know I'm necessarily going to make that captive in any way. Just to kind of also gets pinned in there. And I may have to look at that diskette drive at some point too, of just swapping it. It's a really strange one with that cable. Okay. Get the okay, old drive. And we get out our, already close to 13 minutes of recording. And let's get up our and we might very well end up having to get into our setup. And I could have it to where it wouldn't give all these things for the network and the SCSI adapter. Okay, boot. I didn't get through there and press. Yeah, see, it's booting from the hard drive, and we don't want it to do that now. And I think it automatically recognized the DVD, the new drive. But this process is really okay. F. No, I pressed F2 accidentally instead of F1. So I'm sitting here cycling, looping around on video. 16 minutes. Want to pause. What's the process to break into? Okay. I think I saw F1. And it sure didn't last on screen for all that long. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it figured out all that. Okay, I think just maybe just automatic for that. So, oh, there's their startup sequence if I'd have looked more. Okay, so, and diskette A is fine. What I want to do is plus that one up. Even the USB floppy drive controller, that's fine too. I mean, I can have that in place if I have that ever plugged in. But we want to okay. And probably all these other ones are fine. So we'll escape. Yeah, I should have seen that selection going through the BIOS, the screens before, because I wasn't getting you want to get that prompt for that XP Yeah, over 20 minutes, and I'm not in the. I've not even begun the XP installation yet. And I began to wonder if it was hung. Okay. And we should hear the DVD drive spin up. Okay, press any key. Over 21 minutes, and we're just starting to get XP installed here. I might get some loops. I don't know why my keyboard cable is looped like that. Get some, make me kind of a keyboard tray here. And see. It should be presenting something up on the screen. It's running the hard drive as well. I think it's probably checking and seeing if it needs to repair that prior installation. And I just want to go through and install a fresh copy of this. So I'm going to do my first pause of the video until it figures out what exactly it's doing here. Oh, there we go. So, enter F8. So, we need to look over partitioning information. I want to leave that recovery. Okay. So we're just going to remember, if we do 33,000 megabyte, okay, I want to delete that partition. Okay, L. Okay. So I want to okay. So let's do, I'm going to do a I don't know if I'm good doing okay. And that should be our 2. And I'm just going to do, I'm not going to try and jumble numbers of 2048 or whatever I have to do. Okay. And I am going to, and going through, and there's a little bit of a method to my madness here of going through and creating that C partition. of 2 gigabyte. And going through to the D, where I have the and what I wonder is, no, I'll do that with DOS, I think. So I'm just speculating on that C partition, and that's the one that I intend for the MS-DOS. That 6.22 on, and I don't know if I'll be able to go through and do the installation process of that. Might be kind of challenging. Let me go through and pause the video and return when we're a little bit further along. Okay, getting close. I'm just trying to see if we're back on track for 26 minutes of recording time. Okay. So there's a method to my madness. So I may go through here and may just let it copy the files. Let me go through and pause again. Okay, and the copying of the files went so much quicker with that SATA DVD drive. Okay, and actually, I'm going to go through and I'm going to, at this point where it's copied the files, I'm going to actually power the system off when it went through to reboot. And there's a method to my madness here. And get back to the overhead. And remember, in the startup sequence, at least we were lucky enough with this model that it had that USB diskette drive listed there, or floppy drive. And that got me thinking, even if this installed diskette drive is bad, then at least I have that backup USB diskette drive. And I think this will even be the first one, for my first attempt at using this particular one. I had one for years, and it went through, and it actually, I plugged it in one time and went to access it, and it shorted out. And actually, thank goodness for the current overload protection on USB for that system I was running on, because it that saved the port. I had to go through and reboot the system. It didn't show the port wasn't functional until I rebooted the system, but so thankfully I didn't blow anything. But so what I'm doing here with the system powered off, and remember I created that 2 gigabyte partition for a C drive. And there's a method to my madness for stopping the XP process and going through. And I want to make sure that we can, it'll be relatively informative here if I can actually boot from this diskette, this USB diskette drive like it says. I don't know. I mean, it'd be nice to show the lights and get it off over here, but I don't know if you guys need to observe that process necessarily. Just to know that I have it plugged in, and we're going to see if it will boot from that thing. Okay, and it ran the motor of the... There we go. Okay. And we're still encountering that and those diskettes, I mean, it's been a long time since they've been... Let me try the other one. They've been, they've been stored away for a very long time. And just could be the iterations that Microsoft has to go through. I don't know if it's like an XMF format for those or... Hope that we would have something by now. Okay. I'm going to try booting from my sit diskette. I mean, that has worked to boot. And it is MS-DOS 6.22 on there. And this is just pure cowboy. I'm going through and trying to run a sequence that I'm not really certain of in a lot of aspects. I know my approach is right, but I'm trying to get a bootable DOS partition on that C drive and then go through further with the XP installation. And the reason for that is you want to, in a multi-boot setup, you want to install the most recent operating system last. Install the older operating system, or plural systems, in order that they were produced, because the thought is that the newer operating system has a recognition for that older OS. And I'm going to be depending on XP to... Well, this just got to a point and... And I can hear it running the motor. And I put the authentic MS-DOS 6.22 diskette in the built-in drive. I'm just wanting to get a functional and I would hope it would give me I mean, it should present something on the screen fairly quickly. Still has the drive access slide on. And still has the drive access light on. I don't think it's getting confused and seeing like the hard drive or anything like that. Trying to check or But I should be seeing something come up. For everything I know, something should effectively come up on the to show that DOS is starting. And I'd like to have this partition set up and active under DOS first before continuing the XP installation. Okay, ran the diskette drive. And this is that SIT diskette system information tool with the see, there's that instantly that starting MS-DOS. And that's what I was expecting. Okay. So what I do from here, and I at least need to get this with okay. So we're going to just go with the defaults, create a partition, create a primary DOS partition, and we want to use that maximum size and make it active. Okay. And for some reason, these authentic Microsoft diskettes are just not, I'm not able to get them to boot. And I've had trouble going through and I've got the 2 sets of them. And then I have even 2 more sets that are brand new and still shrink wrapped. And I understand that things can degrade over time. I had those stored in a cool, dry place. There shouldn't be any electromagnetical interference or anything like that. So we've partitioned that drive, and next we have to format it with the transferring the system files as well to make it bootable. And I may not necessarily do the DOS, all the involved in the DOS process to set it up on this part of the program. Well, I'm up at 44 minutes again. We might go through, I might end up going to we'll see if we can install DOS or get as far as we can in the DOS installation, and then on a new video. Okay, we do format C/S. Okay. And yes. Okay, see how quick that was? Wow. Formatting, didn't I have 8? I mean, I want it as a 2 gigabyte partition. Why did it do it as... I mean, 8 megabyte is... Okay. Okay. I'm trying to understand, because I thought I went through and created a 2 gigabyte partition. Well. But anyhow, let's go through. Let's try to run through the DOS setup. Okay. Settings are correct. MS-DOS. And I could have erred in that fdisk process as well, if going through, and I should have maybe viewed, because under DOS, this DOS version, we should be able to make a 2 gigabyte primary DOS partition. And that might be, once I demonstrate the concept, I mean, I'm not concerned about the nuances here, that I'd like to have more space in that MS-DOS partition ultimately, especially for the size of the drive. Stealing off 2 gigabyte of size off of that 40 megabyte or 40 gigabyte drive, excuse me, is nothing. But I want to at least demonstrate or see. I mean, again, I'm cowboying out here. I want to make sure that that XP recognizes and does is able to go through and And I'm actually switching. I switched the diskette set. Yeah, it's did it. And the set should be different enough. Okay. But maybe just to make a note of the files that it misses, or because it is continuing with the scandis.exe. Okay. Let's just plot on. Let's get as much DOS as we can. on there. Yeah, we're over 51 minutes now. So I think I'm going to go through, I'm going to try and get as much DOS on there. And this is where the system was failing on the previous setup attempt. It was going through and having trouble with the second diskette of the set. Okay. So let's just try this other pack, this other set. Okay. And it could be just both of my and I'm trying to think if this is where I may have to go through and break out another well, let me go through. I'm not going to have any diskettes in there right now. And I don't think I'm going to spend a whole bunch of time on, again, the nuances of getting a full DOS setup over to the system. I just want to demonstrate here, and I still have the XP DVD in the drive. Although it'll prompt me for pressing any key to boot from the DVD, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to let this boot to the hard drive, and then where we have that fully functional DOS, and then that'll be at the point where I can wrap up the video, because we have that fully functioning bootable C drive space. And then I'm going to follow through on at the start of the next video, resuming that XP installation where we left off, and going through, and once we get XP complete, we'll see what we have for boot options. When it goes through and see, we have it press any key to boot from CD. Okay, and then starting MS-DOS. And so we're on that C drive. And we have that, it's not fully installed, but we have that DOS directory. And I could even go through, and I may have to break in one of those new packs and just to see if those diskettes are any more functional. These diskettes have been stored away, and I don't know why. They're just having issues even when they're in that USB diskette drive. So this is a good point to wrap up this particular video. It's gone on for over 55 minutes of going through, and once the XP installation went through that first restart after copying the files, I then turned the system off, went in there and tried to work with and gain that DOS installation set up, fully bootable, having created that 2 gigabyte, what I thought was a 2 gigabyte partition for that DOS space as C. And that's important to get the DOS partition going first and get that C drive partition, and then going through for the, Windows XP doesn't care that it's on D drive, and normally the NT loader, if it recognizes an older operating system or functioning operating system being there as well, it should normally prompt us without any bootloader or anything else. I don't think I'll have to go to using a bootloader, but it'll give us an option of which we want to boot to. So let's go through and wrap up the video. And certainly if you like these instructions or you see where I'm going with this and kind of want to follow along, and click on that like button. I won't go through and talk about subscribing to the channel. I mean, I think you're hooked in well enough on this. I'll have that. The next video will be going through and trying to resume that Windows XP installation and getting the system with Windows XP on there, but also getting it multi-boot. So that is all I have for now. This is IBM Museum. Thank you.